Through to 1 o'clock and time to catch up with my guest this week. He was a member of a group that between 1985 and 1988 had 15 hits in the UK. These are some of them. They were huge, not just here, around the world, in America as well. Lorraine, Denise, Doris, Stedman and Delroy, the Pearsons, 5-star. This was one of the early ones. Let Me Be the One. And this is kind of bringing them back together thanks to a special project that's been put together by Delroy Pearson of 5-star. Who's my guest this week. Del, how are you doing?
Good evening, Steve. I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. So you're joining us from LA. So is the sun still shining where you are, where it's dark here at the minute?
Oh, yeah. It's sort of like late morning now, so it's lovely. It's lovely.
So, Del, before we talk about this new project then, let's talk about that 5-star madness in the 80s, because I can't have you on without talking about that. I mean, life changed overnight for you at that point, didn't it? It really did.
Well, you know, it was very interesting because from the days of doing the pubs to the clubs, back to the pubs to the clubs, and, you know, we did that for a while. So we hit the ground and did a lot of groundwork. And it's amazing how it just seems like, wow, all of a sudden, where did they come from? You know, you just pop up and all of a sudden it's Pebble Mill. Right after that, yeah, everything just goes.
Yeah, we don't see the groundwork that goes in to get into that point, do we?
Right. No, you don't see the 4 and 5 drunk guys in the pub that we're forming to. You didn't see that.
I know it's been said quite a lot. There were comparisons to the Jacksons, you know, because it was the 5 siblings. It was the dad who was the manager because your dad managed you. But yeah, right. I don't think that's a bad comparison to have made against you, really, is it?
No, absolutely not. Because once again, very iconic family, had an amazing career. And we've never shunned away from that at all. That's always been a compliment to us.
What was it like as a family, not just being family members, but working together all the time as well? Because you've got no off time from anybody, have you? Did you all find your ways of having your own time as well, away from the group?
It was very difficult, to be honest, because, you know, at the height of our career, it was, you know, we couldn't really go out, we couldn't really do anything. We were always at home. So therefore, our off time was sort of like being in your own room or being in a separate part of the house where you didn't really see your sibling. Yeah. You know, and then before you know it, you're back in the car and you're all performing again on a show. So the downtime was very, very minimal for us because we were so busy. There were shows. If we were not doing shows in the UK, we were on a plane somewhere. So, you know, a lot of work was put in.
How did it feel when it all stopped? I mean, obviously you won the Brit Award in the 80s, late 80s, and then you moved to America to work on another album, and then it did kind of more or less just stop as quickly as it started. What was that like?
Yeah, that was. I think it's a very interesting thing because I think once we did leave from the UK and we moved out here to LA, I think it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for us because, you know, we could walk down the street and we were not bothered. Yeah. And it was just like I know me personally, I really enjoyed that because there was a lot going on in the UK and we had like a long run and still being very young. So it was good to get out here, take a breather from it, just take a break for a minute.
And has music always been your life? Have you always been involved in the industry somehow?
Yes, it's always been music production is like my first love. So, you know, right back from the beginning of being in the studio, I was always in the studio. Sometimes the guys were never there. They were at the house, and I was in the studio with my dad. So that was always the place for me.
When you look back at the days in 5-star back in the 80s, as well as being the performer, would you consider that your training ground for the production work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because I was so fortunate to work with so many incredible, talented, from musicians to producers. I got to spend a lot of time, which then enabled me to develop my skill of, you know, a lot of the little things that I use in my production traits even today. You know, I took from a lot of these guys that I've worked with.
You always managed to master that American sound. Anyone who didn't hear you speak would be forgiven for thinking that you were American. You managed to capture that American soul sound really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think when it first really started, it kicked off with Nick Martellini being from Philly. and Loose Ends, Carl and Steve. They played on, I think they were on Let Me Be the One and All Fall Down. So that whole Philly sound was a great time and a great sound for us, you know?
Stay there, Del. We'll talk more in a bit. And we'll hear that new track as well. It's Del from 5 Star. More next.
I've been holding out on you. Can't wait.
Sunday night on the BBC. Across Yorkshire and Lincolnshire with Steve White. 5 Star. Can't wait another minute. My guest this week, 1/5 of 5 Star. Delroy Pearson. And we're going to hear in a few moments about a new project where he's kind of reuniting with his siblings. First, though, Delroy, I mean, in that time that you've been away from the charts, social media has obviously developed. Does that mean that your fans from the 80s and maybe even new fans have kind of been, discovering you and rediscovering you?
Yeah. Social media there are things that you say, okay, well, I don't think it's great for this, but for things like this, it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. I could write a piece of music today and get it to the world in an hour if I wanted to, and I think that's amazing. It's no longer, okay, you gotta, get your artwork approved, you gotta set a release date, no, everything is pretty much instant, which is it's great.
Tell me about this new collaboration then, because it's an interesting one, because 5 Star are on this track, but this is something that you've produced just yourself, isn't it? How does this work?
Okay, so I produce under the name Viision now. So Viision is my artist name, and that's spelled Viision. So this record came about, and I just, all of a sudden, actually, it's really weird how it came about, because I can't even tell you how it came about, because I just started writing the track one day, which was really strange, and then spoke with my siblings, and everybody loved it, and we just jumped on it. I flew to London, Lorraine flew in, and we cut the vocals on it.
How did you broach the subject with them?
It was funny because I actually did a first version of the record, which was actually closer to the original than this version. But this version kept playing in my head. And I said, okay, well, I need to sit down. I need to write this because I keep hearing it. So I wrote it and I shot it over to them, and everyone was like, oh, my goodness, this is the one. This is it.
Is it set to be a one-off? Can we expect more now? Do you think there could be more 5 Star stuff coming in the future?
No, there could always be more. I think the thing with this Viision project is, as a producer, there's so much great talent that flies under the radar. I know there's a lot in the UK too that I would love to get involved with, and really, really bring some artists up. But also is working with A-list artists as well. But there's always room for that.
Never say never.
Never say never.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it now, Del. This is Viision featuring 5 Star and the new version of Let Me Be the One. Is it out now? Can we get it on all the usual platforms?
All platforms. It's available. It's out right now.
Great to speak to you, Del. All the best. And the next time you're in the UK, come and say hello in person.
Likewise. Will do, Steve. Cheers. Thanks for your time, brother.
No music. Let's
always on my mind. Oh, how I missed you since you hit the big time. Oh, I'm hurting.